To open Visual Basic Program, you press Alt, and then whilst the Alt key is in, you press F11. Insert module. So inside this module, you can type as many functions as you like. Step number 3, you simply write the word function, space, and then you put the name of your function. Something that we can remember, which is initials. So once you've done that, and only if you've typed this word correctly, meaning the same spelling, then you can press enter, and you'll see that it will write the other parts for you. It will now start showing you that the function starts there and the function ends here. Step number 4. I'm going to take this and drag it to one side. Take that, drag it to one side so that we can see what our function is doing. So right now, if you go to any cell and you press equal to initials, you'll find that your function is already in a list of those functions. So now you've created your function that does what? Nothing. It says 0. Who placed a 0 inside that function? No one knows. Are we together? So it's like you've got a box called initials. Are we clear? Just imagine that. Follow me. It's a box now that is called initials. What's inside the box? No one knows for now. So if we want to put an orange in that box, what we do is we take the name of the box, which is initials, and then we simply type in inverted commas. You know that from your Excel functions. If it's you want to return a string like that, now we put here orange. So now we have our box and we place an orange. Initials equal to orange, it simply means we're placing an orange in the initials. So when you go to the same function and you press enter, it says there's an orange inside. Are we clear? Right. Now, if I take the same thing and I put now a banana inside my box, what do you think I'm going to get? Orange and banana. Let's see. It simply remembers the banana. I think this because the banana ate the orange. What's happening here is every time you assign a value to your variable, it forgets about the previous one. So if I wanted to remember and to keep the orange, what we do is we take this very same thing, we say in the initials, place whatever you had in the initials. You see that? And this sign simply means join things together. So in the box initials, put whatever there was in initials and banana. Let's make a space just so that we can have a space between orange and banana. So we'll go in here and then we get orange banana. Does it make sense? The first part says whatever you had. If you want to repeat same thing many times, to repeat instructions many times, you use what is called looping. So in programming, normally when we say we are repeating things, we are saying we are looping. Are we together? There are different types of loops. What I'm going to show you now is one, and the rest you can get them when you get to programming lessons. The loop we're going to be using is the for loop. This is how you write the for loop. And you give it any variable. Let's say I equal to 1, 2, 5, any number, meaning from 1 to 5, just keep on going to next I. Do you understand what I've written here now? So I'm saying from 1 to 5, keep on going to the next I. So I will start being 1, loop becomes 2, you loop becomes 3, and so forth. Are we together? Now let's see what's going to happen here. I'm going to take that step. I'm taking the same thing that I did, and I'm putting it inside the loop now. Meaning it's not going to do it one time. How many times is it going to do it? 5 times. So let's try that and see. Orange comes from there, and then it comes inside the loop. I equal to 1. What do we have in initials? We have an orange, isn't it? And then it adds a banana to it, and it goes out. It makes I equal to 2. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, it is. And then it says what's inside initials? It finds initials banana, and then it adds another banana just like that. This exclamation mark simply means don't read that part. In other words, if you want to make notes in your code, you put an exclamation mark like that, and then you can write nonsense. It is not going to read it. You are given a series of names: Joe, Douglas, Peter. Maybe those, I don't know if this is how you write Douglas, but those are the names, and you want to extract initials from those names. Now, we did not put anything inside these brackets, meaning it was just running without getting an argument. Are we together? So if I say initials is equal to orange like I did, if I say this and I say equal to initials, it will just say orange. It doesn't expect anything. But the minute I go inside the initials and I say expect something, call it names or whatever you call names in your language, then I try to run it, it doesn't run. It says, nope, I expect something to be inside my brackets. You go in there and you give anything inside the bracket, and now it gives you an answer happily because you gave it something inside their brackets. Are we together? So, look at what I did. Anything that you give, it simply goes and read. Only when there's something inside the bracket. You call it an argument. So now, we are going to remember the following. Let us take the box initial, and we want to put the first character of this long string. We are going to use a function called meet. There are many functions that you know in Excel. And this function expects a string, and you need to tell it where do you start and how many characters you want. So, I will say, my function called initials, inside I'll give you a name, and what you do is you go inside that, in the middle of those names, you see that? You can remember because it will tell you. Starting at position number 1, and the length of the string that I want is how many characters? For the first initial, 1. We just want 1 character from the first character. What do you think the answer will be? In the middle of this whole thing, start at the first position and give me 1 character. So what do you expect to get? J. Are we together? If I say give me 3 characters, what is it going to give me? J-O-E. If I say start at position number 5 and give me 3 characters, then it goes inside at position number 5, O-E. You see that? So you can control the start and the how many characters. So now we want the first initial. We start at 1 and we end at 1. We start at 1 and we want 1 character. So now we've got the first initial already. Are we together? We are going to start looping from 1, but how long is this name? And noting that some names are longer than others and so forth, so we can't actually tell. Of course, we can put 100, assuming that no name or string of names will go over 100, but that's a waste of time looping for even after the name is finished. So then we can say, let us find the length. There's a function called len for the length of names, meaning from 1 to whatever the length of names is. Keep on looping. And as you loop, what do you want to do? Now, inside the loop, we have to look for space, isn't it? Remember, we already have the first initial. Other initials will always come after the space, isn't it? We will say, if you continue looping from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, when you find the space, do this. So we will say, if in the middle of the very same names, at position number I, remember I will keep on going from J, O, E, and so forth, right? At position number I, one character from there, you remember that now. One character from there is equal to a space. You see, I put a space here in my thingy. All right? So if, as you loop, you find the space, then you simply write it like that. Then, now the if function starts with the if, it must end with and if. Are we together? Just like function starts with that, ends with this. For starts with that, ends with this. If starts with that, ends with that. Now, this code will only, inside this, will only be ran only if it finds the space. Does it make sense? Now, here we go. When you find the space, this is what you do. You take your box called initials. You don't want to lose the first initial. So what do? You'd again type initials. And now we need to find character after the space. So how do we find the character after the space? We are going to say mid of names at position number. The space is at position number I, right? As it keeps on looping. So the space is at I. So which position do you want? I plus 1, isn't it? So in position I plus 1, how many characters do you want? One character. This is the end of your function. Let's try that. JDP. And then we get another name. Then, I think that is nice. Then, and then it keeps on adding. So every time you run it, it loops, and then it finds the space, and only when it finds the space, then it goes inside the if function and it runs that part. Are we